Wow. So I have the pleasure today of talking about generosity from a slightly different angle. From the angle of receiving. You know, we've been talking about generosity from the perspective of offering. And that's what we're very accustomed to doing. We're accustomed to, we give something, yeah, right? Or we get something. But the idea of learning to receive well, I think has been one of my most recent learnings, I would say, in the past few decades. I mean, most of the time when we receive something, we tend to either feel, oh, it's nothing, it was no big deal. We kind of minimize our offering, or we minimize somebody thanking us for what we've done. We don't feel worthy, right? We feel uncomfortable. And so we just dismiss it. And about, let's say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, my spiritual father, Uncle Chuck, and some of you hear me speak of my uncle, he was really just a dear, but he's a priest, a Catholic priest, and he gave, like he was in the service of giving, and that's the currency in Christianity of giving, give, and actually giving to the point that it's, you want to be selfless in your giving, and you give to the point that you can actually hurt yourself, right? You can become depleted. You can give to the point of, my uncle in his early 40s had a heart attack because he was overworked by the giving out, right? And he said to me, when he got ill in his later years, like about in his late 60s, early 70s, he got Parkinson's. And he told me, he said, Susan, I'm learning my deepest lesson now at this age. I'm learning how to receive from other people. My whole life, I have learned the art and the gift of giving, but I am learning the art and the gift of receiving, and recognizing that in my receiving well, I am offering a gift to the other, to the giver. Because we all want to be seen and appreciated for the gifts that we give. So when my uncle was receiving care from his spiritual son, he recognized that his spiritual son felt a great gift and honor to be able to give to his spiritual father, right? And it's an exchange, it's a currency. In fact, it's elevated in the Tibetan tradition. They give a scarf, a kata, is offered to a teacher or to a Sangha member or to someone as a gesture of appreciation. And it's sometimes put around the neck or handed to that person. And they offer it back. They offer it back as a way of completing the cycle of giving and receiving. And I think that that's a beautiful and important consideration. How do we receive another's offering of love to us, another's offering of help to us, another offering of support? How do we really receive that? And do we notice it? Do we notice it as important, as truly a gift? I think, like in daily life, with the people that we live with the most, we can be blind or kind of grow complacent to the gifts that are being offered. for example, Bill and I, we each have yogi jobs. We have jobs around here. And Bill's, Bill has a list. Like, for example, he's the trash man. He's the recycle man. He's the cat box man. He's the vitamin man. He does all of the vitamins for us. And that's a big job. Big job. He does all of the financial stuff for us. I'm deeply grateful to all of that. But the thing that I really make a point of thanking him for taking out the trash, especially and want him to be careful going out to the trash and when it's slippery out there. But I thank him for that. It's something I don't have to do then, right? It is something that I don't have to do. But the recognition of all of the little ways in which we help each other to keep it all going. Thank you. Thank you for doing the cat box. I deeply appreciate you doing the cat box, my darling. I mean, really. And that feeds the heart good food in both directions. I feel appreciated when Bill does something like that for me. I feel deeply appreciated, and I appreciate the lightening of the load for me. But it also feels good for me in return to say thank you. The thank you is kind of like it's sort of a signal that I have within myself that recognizes I noticed something landed inside for me. Oh, that was a gift. Oh, this is a gift. Not taken for granted. So one of the games that I think it's helpful to consider practicing in terms of games, like to not get heavy-handed with yourself. When you're trying to remember something, it's a game. How many times can you remember? When you're trying to notice something, it's a game. How many times can you notice that you've noticed? Put a little star there. Oh, I noticed Bill took out the trash today. Thank you, my darling, right? Put a big star there. And at the end of your day, to count your stars, like you're counting your blessings at night in gratitude, like, oh, wow. There's a noticing here in the day of when I have received a gift that someone has offered me. They've opened a door for me. They've taken the trash out for me. They made dinner. They cleaned up. They did a little something. They smiled. Thank you. Thank you, because I needed that little smile today. How many of those noticings can you bring forward at the end of your day and let that work in the heart, let that work on the organism? Like, oh, we're beginning to train the heart to notice things like little gestures of kindness and to really appreciate them deeply. That's a generosity here and a generosity out there. It doesn't get better than that. All right. Play. My encouragement is that we play with noticing when someone offers something to us, and perhaps if we can really let that register, perhaps we can begin to let thank you roll trippingly from the tongue. And see how that feels inside. Don't take my word for it that it feels good. Don't ever take someone's word for it. See for yourself. Ehipassiko. Does it feel good when I start to notice these little things? When I start to notice when the driver has let me cut into this very long line, in the traffic jam of the day, and can I just wave and thank you for that? Get on my way. And maybe there's a little smile that's exchanged and we feel that smile. Oh my goodness, water in a desert. Mm-hmm. Water in a desert. All right. So let's drink deeply of generosity from the offering or the receiving side. How good it feels when someone sees us and appreciates us and says, thank you. How good it feels when we extend that thank you to another and we show them that they're seen and valued and appreciated. Okay. All right. Enough words. Thank you. And let's kindly turn our eyes to how it feels physically right now and try to create some space in there, physically open it up. Where does it feel tight, cranky, numb? How can it feel a little more comfortable in there? And take your time. Feel into that. Take your time. No need to rush through anything. We're not getting anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And as you're settling in, feeling into breathing, and how is the whole body breathing as it's settling down? And perhaps taking a few deeper than usual inhalations and deeper than usual exhalations. And then just let the breath have its way and find its own rhythm. And feeling into the opening and expanding on the inhalation, the lifting and lengthening. And then the softening and widening and settling all the way down through the torso, through the base, into the seat, onto the ground. And keep feeling into the relaxing and the settling and the yielding to gravity. And can you feel into a little more kindness, a little more allowing, and letting whatever thoughts or busyness in the mind that are still there, just letting them be like clouds in the sky. For this little while, the focus of attention is on coming into full presence in the here now. and settling down, making space for however it is inside. So very deliberately softening around the eyes, giving attention there. Between the brow and the expanse of the forehead. And softening around the temples and the jaw. The cheeks and the mouth. Generously giving attention to these areas, encouraging them to soften and release whatever tension's there. Bringing attention down through the neck and into the shoulders and letting the shoulders settle back and down. And drawing attention down the arms and letting the arms grow heavy. The hands settling. And softening the belly and feeling into the base of the body. Buttocks, legs, feet, settling. And then opening and receiving the breath as if a gift of life. And letting the inhalation bathe the interior, wash over and through the interior like a wave. And on the exhalation, washing through and settling down. Receiving rest. generosity, the generosity of receiving the breath and receiving the ease and rest that's here. And maybe on the next inhalation, breathing in and sensing how it feels in there and seeing if it can be a little more comfortable. Tidying up in there and seeing if you might need to soften the attitude a little bit, or how we can really feel into an experience of being okay with how it is in there right now and sensing ourselves on the ground, receiving, being received by the ground underneath us. We don't have to work to keep ourselves up. That's a great blessing. And sensing into the space around you that the organism has as much room as it needs to breathe and be. And opening the aperture of attention and recognizing context that you're sitting here alone together with a group of others. And all of us alone together are orienting our hearts toward qualities of comfort and ease and appreciation, gratitude, kindness. Well, it's a beautiful refuge in this world. That demands a lot. So for the next few minutes, just breathe deeply and really receive the blessing of sitting with one another in this way, generously, holding space for ourselves and each other. Let that register. Offering and receiving the generosity of each other's presence.